we deal with the tough issues, some of which the federal government can't even pronounce. We're going to talk today about the Indian Act. Karen Restoule is an Ojibwe Indian. She joins me. She's a consultant with Crestview Strategies in Toronto, a smart group of smart people, and she's one of them. And the Indian Act has been talked about for 100 years, people saying to revise it. And I've spoken to Indians about it. You have. And I also know about the abuses of it. While there's some bureaucrat in Ottawa under the Indian Act can tell some Indian in Saskatchewan how to live. Should we just abolish it and say, here are reserves, self-government, here's your land, get on with it? Should we?
I think in an ideal world, absolutely.
Why can't we do that?
Blockbuster abolishment, we wake up tomorrow, Stephen, and we're sovereign to govern our own people and conduct business on our lands. That's a dream.
Why can't we do
that? For a number of reasons. There are some groups, some communities who just wouldn't be ready to take that step, and that's okay.
Some Native groups.
And that's okay. Yeah, some First Nations.
So that's going to take some time.
But I want to take a step back to how did the Indian Act come to be? There is not one First Nations person in this country, living or prior or dead, who asked the government to be legislated in the way that the Indian Act has. And this is something that nobody talks about. Everyone just thinks
ancient history, but I mean, it'd be nice to know the answer to that. But given that it was imposed, why is the federal government, just say, fine, we're done? Jean Chrétien was Minister of Indian Affairs for years and years. Many smart ministers, they just have never done it. It's because the bureaucrats just want to have the control.
I would say that Ottawa, whether you're the Department of Indian Affairs or other, is very comfortable, that we know. Government departments are very comfortable. They're not really in favor of wholesale change in the way that you've proposed it. But that said, I think there are policy solutions that we could implement today to get ourselves out of the Indian Act. For example, the James Bay Cree, who signed an agreement in the 1970s, revisited it in the 1990s, and have self-governed themselves for the last 50 years.
Successfully.
Successfully.
It's a successful society.
And that governance shift has allowed them to go into big business with industry in their territory. And business is booming there. Still some legacy challenges coming out of, the darker parts of the Indian Act. That's understood, and that will take a few generations to get through. But nonetheless, self-governing is the way to go.
And there's some tribes. I dealt with a tribe in the Yukon who was into business with a mining company, and they were successful at it. So there is precedent. Let's just get the government going.
Absolutely.
Karen Restoule, thank you very much. You're a smart consultant. 3 minutes. This show provides independent analysis of the issues. We are not paid by the government. And as I am finding, so much business in Canada relies upon various governments that they don't want to sponsor or advertise on a show which may become controversial, which talks about liberty, freedoms, sometimes criticizes government. I've had guests on that support the government. But people are saying, you know what? We don't want to bite the hand that feeds us, i.e. government, which is why I hope you'll subscribe and contribute to keep this show on the air.